It's Fenway Park. That's all you need to know. Mic drop.
Now, when you're doing all this type of stuff and you're getting hungry,
Yeah.
we had to pick some top fives as well for places to eat in Boston. We're going to start with yours. Your number one, we're going to go to the north end of Boston and get some cannoli at
Boba's Bakery. So, cannoli!
Of course. You saw us have cannoli in Phoenix at the Sicilian Baker, where they can customize your cannoli.
Yeah.
This place, they have a whole lot of options.
Yeah. Food Insider chose it as the best of Boston's North End cannoli restaurants.
Yeah, I mean, the North End is basically what you would call the Italy in Boston, except they don't let you call it Little Italy. You must call it the North End, or you're going to get in trouble. And they have Mike's Bakery. They have Modern Bakery, where they also serve cannoli.
Yeah.
Those are the tourist traps. Food Insider picked Bova's, even better. And for me, Sicilian pizza! Sicilian pizza! It is one of my favorites. It's this really doughy but very simple type of pizza, as well as for when your mommy, my wife, comes, tiramisu, the top-ranked tiramisu in Boston.
The anonymous mommy. Boom, boom, boom.
That will someday change, I'm sure. Number two for you, all of you are probably going to remember this place.
As I have been introduced to the show in my childhood, it's Cheers.
Dum, da 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 da. They serve you chicken tenders.
The place that inspired the show, a true neighborhood pub.
Well, yeah, and it's one of Mommy's favorite shows, which is how you got inspired by it. And yes, it is an ode to Boston sports, an ode to Boston culture in every way, shape, or form. But you like it because of the chicken tenders as well.
Yeah, chicken tenders.
Number three ain't gonna have chicken tenders, but it's gonna have one of your favorite type of pizzas.
Regina Pizza was ranked at one time the number one pizza place in America.
The best in the whole country.
Open since 1926. Prosciutto is on the menu.
The ultimate in ham, and he loves ham and cheese pizza. Now the Brewers were scheduled to play the Red Sox in June, by the way. That's probably not going to happen, but what that means is, odds are when it comes to the rotation, where will the Brewers be in 6 years?
Boston.
What year will that be?
Their 100th anniversary.
The 100th anniversary of Regina Pizzeria. We might be there for that. That would be fantastic. Number four is not pizza. It is not chicken tenders, but it's one of your other favorite foods.
Yeah, French fries. It has poutine, including cheese curds.
Yes, it has cheese curds and poutine. Every kind of poutine typically has cheese curds.
Not fried, though.
Not fried cheese curds, but they might do that someday. But what really makes the sauce?
Yeah.
Look at what some of the choices are.
Roasted garlic, truffle ketchup, bacon parm, and beer cheese.
Beer cheese. You had me at beer cheese.
And they also serve normal ketchup or mustard for people like me who love simple sauces.
I think you might like the truffle ketchup. That's my guess.
I think I like the beer cheese.
And for dessert, look at what they've got.
Sweet waffles.
Brioche waffles with strawberry jam.
I tip my cap.
And number five on your food list in Boston. Yes, it is Boston, but it's a place called Yankee.
Yankee Lobster.
Yep. And part of why you like it is its actual physical location.
Yeah, it's right by the bay.
Literally right on the bay in Boston Harbor. And what do they have there?
Chicken tenders.
Yeah, it's chicken tenders.
Daddy has tons of seafood
Oh, yes.
Go ahead. Go.
Lobster mac and cheese, lobster rolls, clam strips, stuffed clams. They're talking all my favorite seafood options.
Mic drop.
Yep. And there's going to be more of that, though, coming up when it comes to my top five of Boston food picks. We start with our number one pick, my number one pick, Parker's Restaurant.
Yeah.
Not necessarily highly well known, But first of all, we're going to have to bring a sport coat and pants, or at least a very good dress shirt and pants for this place. No shorts, because it's in the Omni Hotel, one of the finest hotels in Boston.
Okay.
But the dessert is what you go there for. It is the original Boston cream pie.
I had never heard of one.
And they first made it in 1856. Basically, think of a donut that is chocolate on top and has vanilla custard in the middle of it.
Frozen custard?
Just regular custard.
Oh, that's fine.
But so think of a donut like that. You probably had something like that in the past. I think you'd enjoy it, right?
Probably.
Imagine an entire cake like that.
Heck no. Hats off.
Go crazy. And just because it's Boston cream pie, I have to try it there. Number 2 when it comes to my list, we're going a little bit north. We are going to one of the great seafood places in Boston, but we are not going to one that is necessarily on the highest list, partially because you get your chicken tenders. You can get your chicken tenders there, and I can get my oysters, and I can get my lobster roll, and with hot butter drizzled on it. Paulie's, right on the Freedom Trail. Yep. Is that what you think of lobster?
Possibly.
We'll tell you a funny story behind lobster at some point. But Paulie's is right in this row of restaurants that are among some of the best seafood restaurants in the country. And it's not as busy as some of the others that are on the list. So I think we definitely want to go there. Number 3 for me, we're going to the east end of Boston. It was featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. It is Reno's Place. And it is this old family restaurant that Guy Fieri went to, and he had, and we're going to continue this theme because lobster is such a delicacy and is so native to Massachusetts, lobster ravioli.
Well?
Lobster ravioli. I saw this thing on TV on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, and I nearly died and went to heaven. I'm like,
no, you didn't. I was watching with it.
Yeah, it was. I was salivating, easily salivating. They've got a prosciutto sandwich for you, and for mommy, they've got chicken parm.
The anonymous mommy. What do you call her? The anonymous.
Anonymommy at this point. She is anonymommy. We will introduce her at some point.
Yeah, next baseball trip, she said.
Hopefully. Number 4 on my list. A sandwich shop where they claim they make the best pastrami sandwich in the world. We're going to test that theory. Sam LaGrassa's. It is right by Boston Common. They are known for what's called Romanian pastrami.
Interesting.
It is said to be the best around. As they describe it, it's, quote, dry cured beef seasoned and then gently smoked, served on light rye with Swiss. This sounds absolutely incredible. And you've got your honey baked ham, which I know you love. And he will enjoy that big time. The final restaurant on our pick is also right by the Freedom Trail. It is the oldest operating restaurant in the United States of America, Union Oyster House.
Yeah.
We recommend, by the way, I've seen a lot of recommendations. Don't go during the middle of dinner time because it gets so many tourists that want to go.
Yeah.
It might be the kind of place where we go like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Or you just go to the bar in the waiting room area and you just get clam chowder and you get oysters.
Yeah.
That's a great place to get chowder, and you can see them shuck the oysters right there as they make it for you for your plate.
And they also do have chicken tenders for the kids menu.
Yes, so he'll be happy there. Now, if you're lucky, you can get the Kennedy booth where John Kennedy would sit and eat a bowl of clam chowder.
Every time, or what?
I believe it was the same booth. I could be wrong, but I believe it is. And there's so much evidence of the history of America when it comes to this place. And if we go, by the way, again in 2026, we'd be there for the 200th anniversary of the restaurant.
Ow.
Dear Major League Baseball, schedule Brewers Red Sox in 2026.
Please, Major League Baseball, get us, or also try to schedule 2 city trips for
Do Boston and then New York, or Boston and
please,
DC or something.
Please.
Where they're close by each other, like Boston, Mets, Boston, and then Yankees. Because it would be such a fantastic trip for us.
Yeah.
So fantastic. For a little buddy, I'm Daddy. Can you euchroify us out?
So.
No, we're not done with our Boston series at this point. We have a little bit of surprise for you, little guy.
Yes.
Our top fives, we gave ours for restaurants and for things to do, but we have a guest columnist on our Boston top five.
Wow.
Not just any guest columnist.
Okay, I have no idea who this is.
It is the radio voice of the Boston Red Sox, Joe Castiglione.
Wow.
Let's listen.
Anthony J., this is Joe Castiglione, Red Sox broadcaster. My favorite places to visit in Boston, of course, number one is Fenway Park. Not just the ballpark, but you might want to check out the Twins store, the souvenir shop across the street, also the Fenway Victory Gardens, and the entire neighborhood, which has really blossomed in recent years. I also love to bike around the country, really. I don't like to ride in streets where there's traffic, but the best biking path in Boston is along the Charles River. You can rent bikes on the street by Kenmore Square and go back behind Boston University, and there is a bike path that runs along the Charles River past the Esplanade, where the 4th of July and Boston Pop ceremony is held, and it goes almost all the way to the Museum of Science, which is wonderful. Speaking of museums, the JFK Library and Museum, which is on the Red Line, a subway stop, is a great place to visit as well. I love to visit the Northeastern campus because I taught there for many years. And while it's a concrete campus, you can see the Cy Young statue. It was the site of the first World Series played in 1903, so that gives, I think, the Northeastern campus special meaning. And fifth would be the North End. I love the North End, the Italian neighborhood, still very ethnic, although a lot of yuppies live there now, and of course has great restaurants, which we'll talk about in the restaurant section. If you're leaving the city, about an hour south is Plymouth Plantation, Plymouth Rock, where the Pilgrims landed, and to the north, maybe half an hour away in Salem, the Salem Witch Museum. So there's plenty of places like that, but assuming you're going to stay close to the city, I think you'll like those recommendations. As for the five restaurants, well, most of my favorites are in the North End, the Italian neighborhood. Il Molo is outstanding. It's an Italian seafood restaurant, and it's owned by a good friend of mine who had several other restaurants in the North End. It's on Commercial Street, and reasonable prices, great fish. Assaggio, which of course means grapes, Italian restaurant in the North End, which is outstanding. You can't go wrong with any restaurant in the North End. And for sweets, Modern Pastry. They have great cannoli. They make a great cannoli cake, and it's really a wonderful bakery. Any legal seafood, and there's several around the city, fresh fish, decent prices, easy to find, and very, very big. And I would also say, if you like a quick meal around Fenway, Wahlberg's, which of course is owned by the musicians, great burgers and fries and that type of thing. And for dessert, you'd like JP Licks, which is on Newberry Street and several other locations, a great ice cream place. And if you're looking for pizza, Pizzeria Regina is the best in the North End on Thatcher Street. Pizzeria Regina has been around since the 1920s. It was voted best pizza in Boston. However, the worst pizza in Boston is the satellite Pizzeria Regina's, so make sure you get the original. So have fun in Boston whenever you can get there.
And we will get there at some point, Joe. Part of what I wanted to do this with was just to get the guest opinions, but also to have a little contest to see who had more of the picks that he had. Now, I want to clarify this first by saying I give you first dibs because you don't know as much about these cities as I do, so I give you the chance to get the first dibs on this. With that being said, you beat me 3-0.
Really?
3-0.
So we have Fenway.
Fenway, Regina Pizza, and the JFK Museum. I cannot thank Joe Castiglione enough for joining us and for taking time out when I know he would much rather be calling baseball games. And he will again, and we will be watching baseball again, and we will be touring stadiums for Brewers games. We will be at Fenway, hopefully, maybe 2026.
Yeah, we'll see.
the 100th anniversary of Regina Pizza, by the way. Would love to be there for that celebration.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we're going to continue our series. We are hopefully going to be getting some other guest opinions to you. I think we may have something coming up soon for LA with a couple of people who are very knowledgeable about Los Angeles to compare how we did to their picks as well. But the next city we're going to review is
Cleveland.
Cleveland, as they say, rocks. That will probably be a theme with where we may be picking. But until then, what we would love for you to do to catch more of our content, what do you do?
Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. For little buddy, I'm Daddy. Give us a euchre, take us out.
Song from Milwaukee, Wisconsin.